Hello, fifth grade. Today we are going to get started on a new section in science, chapter 7, the wonders of the sky. So today you're going to read section 7.1 and take some notes. So please make sure that you're reading the section before you watch the videos on history and science, because then they will make more sense. Okay? So after you read the section, we're going to go ahead and get into our notes. So many ancient people thought that the sun was actually a god, but we know that on the fourth day of creation, God made the sun, which also gave us light. Now, through God's gift of the sun, it gives us food, allowing all living things to happen. So all living things need sun. Remember, we've talked about this before. If we had a dark world, we would freeze to death, right? So God gave us the sun and put the earth just in the right place so we could utilize the sun so that it can keep us warm and also help us to produce food. So I want to read a little part of this section because this part is so interesting. It says, "Did you know that the sun is so large that it can actually hold 1,300,000 Earths?" That's how big it is, okay? Now, if you could drive your car around the entire Earth through the equator, okay, all the way around at 60 miles an hour, that trip would take you 17 days to do it, all the way around the Earth, right? But if you could drive a car around the sun all the way around, it would take you 5 years to drive around the sun. That's how big it is. Now, it looks pretty small up in that sky, but that's how gigantic and big it really is. Okay? So now, it takes 8 minutes for the sun's rays to travel the 93 million miles to the earth. So yes, 93 million miles to earth, okay? Make sure you have that note down, okay? So the interesting thing about the sun is, as I said, all living things need food, they need light, and they need water to live, right? So, when light, water, and carbon dioxide form sugar and oxygen, we then have the process of photosynthesis. Now, photosynthesis basically is when the sun helps to produce our food. Okay, so photosynthesis is when the sun helps to produce our food. So now the interesting thing is that the sun actually has layers to it. Now we just see one big sun, and when we look at it, it hurts our eyes. But actually, when you break down, there are actually different parts to the sun. There is the core, the photosphere, the chromosphere, the corona. Okay, now photosphere actually means light. Okay, so now let's go through our core, our whole diagram. Now in the middle is the core, okay, and so the core is just the very, very center, okay. Then we have the photosphere, okay. Now that's this part going around the core, and that is the part of the sun that we can see, okay, that bright ball, okay. Then on the photosphere, there might be little dark spots, and these dark spots are called sunspots. So that's where we get the nickname if we have spots on our skin and people say, "Oh, you have sunspots?" That's kind of the idea. They got that from there. Or the sun gave you sunspots. That kind of happens too. So those dark spots on the photosphere are the sunspots, okay? Then on the outside, we have the chromosphere, okay? And the chromosphere is the fiery atmosphere, which basically it surrounds the photosphere with displays of the giant bursts of gas. So this kind of like bursts out gas, okay? And sometimes it ends up looking like little rays like this that burst out, okay? Then there's this nice layer that is around the whole sun, and that is called the corona. And the corona is the vapor blanket around the sun. So this far layer all the way around, okay? So you have our core, photosphere, chromosphere, and corona. Those are our layers. And I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the sun. So make sure to complete your worksheet 14 that shows you how to layer the sun. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this great section on the wonders of the sky, because we're going to get into some really fun things.